Lord be with you. A reading from the Holy Gospel according to Matthew. Jesus said to the crowds and to his disciples, "Woe to you, scribes and Pharisees, you hypocrites! You lock the kingdom of heaven before men. You do not enter it yourself, nor do you allow entrance to those trying to enter. Woe to you, scribes and Pharisees, you hypocrites! You traverse sea and land to make one convert, and when that happens, you make him a child of Gehenna, twice as much as yourselves. Woe to you, blind guides, who say, if one swears by the temple, it means nothing. But if one swears by the gold of the temple, one is obligated. Blind fools, which is greater, the gold or the temple that made the gold sacred? And you say if one swears by the altar, it means nothing. But if one swears by the gift on the altar, one is obligated. You blind ones, which is greater, the gift or the altar that makes the gift sacred? One who swears by the altar swears by it and all that is upon it. One who swears by the temple swears by it and by him who dwells in it. One who swears by heaven swears by the throne of God and by him who is seated on it." The Gospel of the Lord. I'd like to just say a couple of brief thoughts about this first reading, the first letter to the Thessalonians from Paul. Most scholars say they think this is the first piece written in our New Testament scriptures. This is the earliest one, probably written about the year 51, so about 18 years after Jesus died and rose to heaven. And it's a good time to think about these letters from Paul. First of all, I want to just make a point that you probably notice yourself. He likes long sentences. If you're a lector, you know about this because it's very hard to read a sentence that is so long. Near the beginning of this reading, this is at the very beginning of the letter. It's the second sentence. The second sentence has 52 words in it. I would challenge you to go home and try to write a sentence that has 52 words in it. That's a long sentence. And basically, the whole sentence is saying, I'm thanking God for you, the people of the church of Thessalonica. 52 words. But at the end of the passage, the last sentence is 51 words, so he wasn't finished yet. Here's another one. That one's a little harder for me to tell you what that sentence is about because you almost have to break it down and say, well, this part of the sentence is about this and this part is about that. Just a little point about St. Paul. So if you have sometimes difficulty reading with St. Paul because of those long sentences, I'd say break them down. Break them down and look at the first, whatever thought is there, and that's the thought to think about before you go on. Because if you read the whole thing, you'll have to read it again, because you'll say, what was he saying there? Isn't it great, though, that we have these letters? These letters affected the churches that he was writing to in huge ways. He would be writing to them on another part of the journey, writing back to them. Or sometimes he was in prison writing to a community because he had been arrested. And in these letters, he gives them encouragement. He expresses his love for them. He admonishes them on things that he's hearing that are going on in the community. And these letters, these encouragements and admonishments, they're for us too. Because he wrote them down. He wrote them in a letter. We're almost losing the art of letter writing in our culture today, aren't we? Maybe you could think about it. You have some letters at your house that you save because they're so precious to you, from your parents or your grandparents. family members or friends. What a beautiful thing, the art of letter writing, the gift of a letter. Maybe something you could do today or tomorrow. You write a letter. Who would you want to write it to? What would you want to tell them? Thank goodness for the gift of letters throughout the centuries, really, because we have lots of letters from the saints. And it's through those letters that we get to know these very holy people. So they weren't just admired and models for the people of their time. Because of their letters, models to us too. Pray for the intercession of St. Paul, great missionary, such an ardent and passionate love for Jesus. And through his letters, his love and passion touches our hearts too.